Okay, here we go. Special edition, trade deadline day on the real Kyper and Bourne show. Big 2 hours coming up. We're live on Sportsnet. Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet across the platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, you name it. Leaf Edition hour here, 5 p.m. Eastern, as we are now closed off 2 full hours since the trade deadline. A few things have trickled in, including a very big one with Naz Kadri going back to Colorado. We'll get into all of that. We've got a terrific show for you. We also got Brad Treliving in an hour to talk about his day. Doug MacLean will sneak in on this special off-the-rails trade deadline day at about hour and a half. In the meantime, boys.
And Friedge in studio in the first hour.
Oh, my gosh, I forgot about Friedge. That guy
Holy smokes.
put in a shift and a half today, as they always do.
Yeah, we're coming right off of them.
Kind of felt bad because really everything got really kind of going a little bit towards the end of the day, whether it was Braden Shen going to the Islanders, your Islanders, JB, and, of course, Kadri after the 3 p.m. deadline. They snuck it in. It didn't get reported till
4.
A little after that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear about it till 4.
So there you go. But in the meantime, like watching paint dry, boys. I got to be honest with you. I've been through a lot of these over the years, and I felt for those guys up on the desk because all you could see is just the tap dancing going on from hour to hour.
I can't remember a year where there was more names in play and less happening. It's Robert Thomas and Kyrou and Parayko. It's Rasmus Ristolainen and Nazem Kadri and all these names.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
All the Leafs, every guy on the Leafs minus 2, and nothing happened. And then, like around 3 o'clock, things started to happen. But that was a slow day, much slower than anticipated. And I would say a disappointing day for a lot of fan bases who thought their teams were going to take a big step today. Like a lot of teams. I just think Detroit got Falk okay. You know, Buffalo didn't end up getting Shen and Stanley instead of Parayko.
Yeah.
Taller, worse Parayko.
Yeah. You know, there's just a bunch of teams that I think I know Islanders fans thought it was going to be Robert Thomas for them or Kyrou.
Shen's still pretty exciting.
Yeah. Different degrees of excitement.
We're going to get in the Leafs for sure, but and maybe a little bit in the national hour, but
we're national both hours.
We are?
Yeah, we're national.
Okay.
Talk about everyone.
We are on national. We are on national television this moment.
All right.
Right this moment, nationally.
You didn't really put that in the lineup.
We are live on Sportsnet. Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 960, 650, streaming just at the top. That's all.
Hey. When have we been able to trust what it says at the top of the lineup?
Listen, that is fair. But you saying it's not really in the lineup is plainly false.
Okay. You're right, and he's right. Okay.
We're right.
All right. Just a quick thought, okay? Yeah. Before we break all of it down. Okay. Do we have to kind of revisit this thing? Like, as a whole, as an industry, this trade deadline day from, like, how long we want to make people sit and wait for trades to no trade clauses killing this day to, like, is it too late in the season? Do we have to kind of, the leagues, the networks, the Players Association, everybody get together and go, maybe we got to fix this day a little bit?
I don't know.
No?
None of that.
Well, I mean, if you want to fix it, get rid of the playoff cap and bring back double retention.
Okay.
I don't know if that would change things too much.
But it's been the worst deadline
I think this
forever.
This was the year that we really saw, to Sam's point, the double retention, the almost 40% of the league with either no move or no trade. And it's like, do we really want to ask people to possibilities of taking the day off to watch 3 trades in 5 hours?
But Kip, you, as much as anyone, have been around for the evolution of trade deadline.
Yeah, but they were a lot better than today. All of mine were way better than this.
It wasn't a thing. And you started in 98 at Sportsnet.
Yeah. We were doing shows a few years after that.
A few years after that. But before that, there was nothing.
It
was just It was the trade deadline.
Nothing.
Some trades would happen. Whatever. And then
smoke signals to get a trade out.
right. So for like 20 years, we've created this as like an event.
Yes.
And I don't know if for the players, is that fair? Like the event of uprooting. I'm just saying, like, to be like, no trade clauses. It needs to be more guys traded. I don't think anyone wants that.
But I don't want
Fans need
I don't
to have
want
a realistic
I don't want
expectation.
like 3/4 of the market's also very disappointed that they did nothing today, and they are told now because they couldn't find someone to go to their market. That's all.
I'm a fan. I'm the person they're supposed to.
Okay.
And I'm glued to it.
Okay.
And I'm glued to my phone. So maybe
All right.
what we got here in its entirety wasn't the greatest day, but it's the pursuit of something potentially happening that makes it exciting.
I just don't know
Right?
if
It's like rumors.
was today a
You're
one-off.
scrolling, you're scrolling.
Was today a one-off, or is
We'll
this
see.
going to be a harder
Last year was
situation now moving forward because more guys continue to say, I don't want to go there. And then, Colton Parayko, I'm sorry, but was an embarrassment for all of us the other day.
I think less guys may get traded in the future just generally because the cap is going to go up so much that teams can keep guys. There, for a while there, it was like, okay.
But you don't want to keep guys. Some teams are dying to get rid of their guys.
Well, then other teams have the ability to take them on. I don't know. I'm not.
Okay.
I don't
All
think
right.
it's
Fair enough.
cataclysmic.
yeah, I think it's just maybe if it's really brutal next year, let's have that conversation on our show.
We are on a Leaf Edition hour. Are we not, Sammy? Or are we just national?
It probably says Leaf Sour up top, maybe there. No, it doesn't. No, it's not.
Okay, where do you guys want to start then?
I think we should probably start with the Kadri thing, and then we can go to the Leafs.
Okay.
Like Kadri's the biggest news of the day, no question.
And
Yes.
you broke it. So
Yeah,
No, I did not break it. Elliotte broke it, I think.
yeah.
okay. Well,
I just broke the fact that they already had a deal done the other day, and it got out real quick, and I think it made everybody kind of revisit that if you don't find a way, Calgary, to get Kadri to Colorado, you don't want this. You don't want Kadri coming back in that room.
unhappy at that point if it didn't happen.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
I think you would have snapped on them.
Yeah. Yeah. He was ready to go back. They wanted him. It was a fit. What's curious about it is I have to believe they acquired Nick Waugh thinking they weren't getting Kadri. That has to be the case.
I don't think you're wrong. I think it's just obviously a downgrade from what you thought you could have gotten. Now
they're Kadri, Brock Nelson, Nick Waugh,
Nick
Nathan
Waugh's your
McKinnon.
fourth line center.
Yeah.
Jack Drury too is
Yeah.
like the fifth line center.
A first rounder for a fourth liner.
Yeah.
Try to win a Stanley Cup.
They
But
have
they
spent all their first.
They're all in. Of course, the big news was a 20% retention that they just seem to be totally off on. So somebody green lighted that. And I'm sure as an ownership group, you like Kadri, you respected Kadri, and you did right by him.
Yeah. And now, so 20% is he makes $7 million, so it's $1.4 million.
5.6
That's they have him at 5.6 in
for
Colorado.
the next 3 years.
What a fantastic number.
Well,
What
this year plus 3, right?
fantastic number.
Yeah, like that's
All day long, Kadri
Yeah.
at 5.6.
And that's this year plus 3, right?
No,
this year and two
Plus
more
two
after.
more?
I think
Or-
it's
This year plus 3 more years.
Oh,
yeah.
well,
Okay, there you go.
You get 4 cup runs with Kadri at 5.6.
I like him. You know why I like him too? He is one guy that can sometimes maybe look at a guy like Nate McKinnon and just tell him to kind of chill a little bit when he
Relax on
just relax, just a
the
tad.
chickpea pasta, bro. We can have a donut.
So I listen. They've already done it once. They've won a Stanley Cup, and they've proven that they can be a terrific 1-2 punch as
And make
leaders.
no mistake, Calgary is going to finish last this year.
Good.
They are going to give themselves the best possible chance at one of 2 or 3 guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I shouldn't say for sure last, but in the bottom, one of the bottom 2.
Leafies?
So
Oh, sorry, Vancouver's 12 points behind them. Oh my God,
Oh, they're
Vancouver.
awful.
Golly. Okay,
And they only traded
okay.
Yeah.
Reichel and
So
anyways.
Camp.
we got Montreal, we got Ottawa,
I
Winnipeg. Where do you guys want to go?
Toronto.
None of
Toronto.
those teams did it.
All right, so we're going to have General Manager Brad Treliving at the top of the hour. I would imagine that we're going to figure out what kind of questions we're going to ask him right here, right now. But just one word to describe Toronto Maple Leafs day today: disappointing,
Underwhelming.
underwhelming.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're
Directionless.
We were expecting a sell-off of 4 or 5 bodies, and you ended up with McMahon going to Seattle for a second and a fourth.
Second
And-
in 2027, fourth is this year.
Yep. And Scott Lawton goes to the LA Kings for a third rounder that, if I'm not mistaken, is tied to making the playoffs or missing the
it'll be a
playoffs.
second if they make the playoffs, which right now they're 50-50 to make the playoffs. And
Minus 105 on a lot of books to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They have
Okay.
a pretty easy score.
So where do you begin? Sam,
Yeah.
disappointed with McMahon?
I don't think the McMahon one is disappointing to me. I think maybe we're dreaming on a first round pick, but that one to me is your stock free agent 30-year-old winger that you're kind of going to take the highest price for. The Lawton one, the third rounder seems a little bit underwhelming, especially considering what he brings. At that price, you're wondering if you just maybe keep him and try to bring him back.
And that's a question for Brad at the top of the hour. Is like we all know what you paid for him, and it's getting regurgitated like crazy right now with Leaf fans. But
The biggest
why not just hold on to him?
the biggest disappointment for me, for sure, is the fact, I was really dreaming on them coming out of this deadline with 2 first-round picks, and they, I guess, somewhat surprisingly got one for Nick Waugh before the Kadri thing happens. I'm really surprised they didn't trade Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And it seems that they had set a high price, which is fair. I understand that. But you see Falk going for a first. I know he shoots right, but that one to me kind of leaves a mark. And I'm surprised that we're sitting here with him still on the Leafs.
So I'm not on Sam's page with the where I'm frustrated by it. OEL, I think I've said on this show that I didn't mind if you really are talking about a retool. If you want to be good next year, you can trade this guy next year. He'll have 2 playoff runs. He'll still have value then. I don't mind keeping him so much. The Lawton one to me is wild. Like a third rounder for Scott Lawton. Nick Dowd went for a second and a third. You saw the value Dickinson got. I understand there was the Mangiapane money in that, but he ends up with a first. It just felt like low-end guys. Michael McCarron went for a second. Scott Lawton's a player, man. This guy's had numbers in the league. He's played minutes in the league. That to just get a third was disappointing.
No, it hasn't had what numbers are you talking about?
Well, he scored 15 goals, 5 times. Multiple seasons as a depth scoring, penalty killing, heart and soul type guy.
Yeah.
You can't put him up against McCarron, Dowd, Dickinson and say he's an entire second rounder worse than those guys. Right? Dowd was a second and a third.
Yeah.
So
and
that's the
he
one
tried.
I think. Yeah.
Lawton going at 2:57 or 2:58 Eastern time is Brad Treliving trying to get that second rounder out of anybody.
And I think he probably did, right? I think LA makes it. So I think you get a second in that case.
Oh, I don't have LA in.
No.
Not a chance.
Well, they're 3 points back in the biggest poo-poo platter of a division. There's a chance, Kipper.
Well, okay, all right. There's
no
a chance.
chance is crazy.
I look at that roster, and I don't see it.
Yeah.
But you're right. Okay.
But yeah,
that is still the best you can do.
So I guess, we knew that there were a couple of these guys going to be out and they were flipping some guys for assets. It doesn't feel like they have a ton of assets. You get a first, a second, a third, I think a fourth and a fifth, right? I think you get but in various future rounds. And now you look at next year and they're significantly worse. They were Nick Waugh and Scott Lawton played 3C and 4C for them. Pretty good in those spots. And McMahon was on their top line. So now it's okay.
And the most significant pieces are in 2027.
Right.
You're still
those guys aren't
2
here till
years
2030.
away, right? You're still a year away.
So my question is, are they going, and I'll ask this to Brad when we have him, do they intend to use these for picks, or are they going to try to flip these for next season and try to take another run? That's the plan, right?
Go
ahead.
They're not that great picks. Even the Nick Waugh's a 30th pick. It's who do you think you're going to grab for that? Another Nick Waugh?
Well, I mean, you were just here watching first rounders have value. I mean, whether you think it's 30th or 26th or whatever.
But they're not. I don't think these picks are going to bring you back needle movers.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be tough, guys. It's going to be really tough for them to look this time next year and go, yeah, we're top 16 team now.
Well, I mean, that then would be super depressing. If you think that they traded Nick Waugh, Scott Lawton, and Bobby McMahon, and they didn't even get any assets that can get them back players, which I disagree with you on, but it's a pretty...
I'm not saying they can't get it back. It's just, I think if the cycle kind of remains consistent, you're kind of going to get some of the players back that you kind of gave up.
Right. That's
and
totally.
They're not difference makers. True difference makers.
When I look at the Leafs cap wages page or go to Puckpedia and you see where it's like listed for their first round picks and their picks or whatever, for it to still be gray for this season and with a first and a second.
I don't think it's filled in yet, but you're right. First and second will still be gray.
First and second. Yeah, they've got.
Oh, is it updated?
Well, they've got, you're right. But they don't have this year's first and second are both gone. And I was really hoping to come out of this deadline with one of those two slots filled in, this year's first or this year's second. And to have them not get either of those coming out with the assets that you seemingly had, it just, and I don't know if you're waiting to the last possible second. Maybe that's a good way to do it. Just the optics of it to me just seems so similar to last year, but the opposite way.
My fan, I told Sam when I got in here, my fan, fantasy, we want this team to do well. We talk about them all the time. The dream was that they were going to get a bunch of assets for all these guys. I said to you guys last week it should happen earlier, right? As early as you can make it happen.
Yeah.
And then there's these distressed assets out there. It's Alexis Lafreniere is a guy that interests me. Matty Benier, Shane Wright, some of these type of guys that could you buy low on someone who's still young and has some upside? And that didn't happen.
Apparently you can't.
Right.
You can't. I'm with you. If you got the cap space, and you can, how badly do you want to get rid of them? Mm-hmm. And apparently you don't.
Yeah.
Trocheck. Come on.
Yeah. The Rangers are
how does that not happen
in the league, and
they got a big win last night over the Leafs, so maybe they're changing their course.
Honest to God, first time I've thought about that hockey game. I forgot about that.
Oh, buddy, I've been thinking about it all day.
Seems like a million miles ago.
I've been thinking about it all
today.
Day.
Yeah.
You guys didn't have to watch and do Leaf stock after. I've been thinking about it.
Nightmare.
They stink.
Yeah. So,
I don't feel any different about their chances for next year than I did at 12 p.m. Eastern today, which is not where you want to be.
Yeah, these are tree questions, right? What's the step from, that was clearly step one, acquire assets. You got some. God, you look at the day Doug Armstrong had. Put all his big fish out there and said, who wants what? End of the day, he still has Thomas, Kyrou, Parayko, and he ended up with 2 first-rounders, 2 third-rounders, and prospects.
He was...
He was
really
well said.
He was very consistent with his stance. I get what I want, or we live to fight another day, and that was obviously going into the draft. All of this, everything we've talked about, everything we've bantered the last week over these names and faces and personalities, we're going to be doing it again at the draft.
Yeah, it'll be Trocheck and Thomas and Kyrou.
Yeah,
all of it. All of
Bregman Larson.
So the Islanders did pay a pretty steep price to get Braden Shen. Are you good to...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Kadri and Shen, right? 2 out of maybe 4 or 5 centermen that we thought could go.
Shen is 34 years old. He's got 2 more years after this year. So 3 playoff runs at 6.5. For the Islanders, they got off Drouin's money. That was the big one this year, $4 million this year and next. So it's a little bit of a Mangiapane situation there. And their pick is like the Leafs, a Colorado pick, which is probably 28, 9, 30, somewhere in that range. So,
God, those Blues jerseys are
so beautiful. But so the Islanders now, they re-signed Pajot. They're kind of it's funny, Darsh has kind of made them heavy, like a playoff style team. They got Palat and Soucy. Yeah. Anders Lee. They're a playoff type team if they get in.
When I found out it was the Avalanche pick from this year in that trade, I liked it even more.
Yeah.
It's You're ahead of schedule here. Clearly, you have one of the best young players,
Didn't
if
give
not
up
the
any of
best
their-
young player in the league.
Yeah.
And then you got one of the best goalies. Like I don't hate it.
With
pro.
with Florida's success, no question, it's an easier pill to swallow for their fans, their ownership, the management to take a year off, right? Miss the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But for others now, like the Leafs, even Ottawa right now, scratching and crawling to get in. Like this is the year in the East that a team like the Islanders can go, yeah.
Why not?
Right?
If
Let's
playoffs
go.
start today, they play Pittsburgh. Go ahead and take your chances against Stu Skinner, and obviously they have historic great names like Crosby and Malkin, but after that, it's a lot of young guys.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Right?
Ben Kindle and crew out there. So
Tampa all of a sudden finds themselves on a bit of a losing streak. What do? They go out and they get Corey Perry.
The worm.
The worm is back.
is he must be a single guy. He's just like, trade me. I don't have a family.
No, he's got to have.
So yesterday, Ken Holland.
No, he does. I think he's a
Yesterday, Ken Holland went to him and said, "Would you lift your no movement or no trade?" And he said, "No." And then I don't know. Today,
Well, what did
he changed his mind.
what went the other way? What did Tampa Bay give up?
Second round pick.
Yeah.
He's like
2028.
47 years old.
Yeah.
But you got. I mean, you
Oh
can't.
no, he's special. No,
you
I'm
can't-
not. I know, but like
It's
it
a
is
different
incredible. Again, Scott Lawton fighting to get a second, and he's 30 years old,
Yeah. Oh, listen,
and you're giving up a second for a 40-year-old. It's like
if you're Ken Holland, you're like, yeah, I just swapped Corey Perry for Scott Lawton, got a second, traded out a third.
yes.
I think I got better and got a better pick.
So
I mean, he's got 28 points in 50 games again
But
this year,
he's
11
special.
goals,
Really?
17
Oh, not
assists.
better than
Yeah,
everyone.
man.
he is special.
He's Corey Perry.
He is.
It's a different thing.
He is.
And he's
But-
got the familiarity with that franchise clearly, and they guaranteed
But he
themselves.
may go to another Stanley Cup final.
Imagine. I had this thought today. Imagine they go and they play the Oilers and lose to the Oilers.
Oh, man.
Had that thought today.
Yeah. There's a documentary waiting on this guy. Thank God he won a cup early in his career.
Oilers should know.
But it is wide open, right?
It really is.
It really is.
Well, I saw a stat, and I apologize to whoever had this out there, but of the last 7 Stanley Cup finals, so that's 14 teams, something like 13 of them have had expected goals percentages over 50. Every team who's in the final is a good team. This year, half the playoff teams are below 50. Like, it's a bizarre year where some random team, could it be you, Islanders? Could it be you, Anaheim? Ottawa could
To get in, yeah.
Ottawa could absolutely go on a run. Who are you afraid of? Outside the Central.
Yeah,
It's
mid-HL
the
right
Central
now.
and no one else.
Yeah.
Tampa, okay, yeah, I'm scared of them a bit, but
Yeah.
they're not unbeatable.
No, they're not unbeatable.
And Carolina, I mean, I think they're very good, but a lot of
I-
people will go, I
How,
don't know.
how about them trading for Delorier, boys?
they were on a mission to try to get
A star.
tougher. No, tougher. They wanted toughness. I mean, I don't know what this does for them in the playoffs.
What's worse, conditional
But-
7th round pick or for future considerations? What would you rather be traded for?
I guess the 7th. This guy
They are
was traded, had a deal in place for
they're a
them a
little
couple years
soft.
ago.
They are a little soft.
Yeah, but I mean,
He's a
We-
little bit
we've
nails,
seen-
that guy.
we've seen it 100 times. When your
one
core is
plug and
when
play.
your core is like
thug
that.
doesn't. Yeah.
trying to tack it on doesn't make you tough.
Nope. So true.
Doesn't work. Like that.
Disappointments, Montreal, not ready. It's okay.
I don't think I heard their name today. I am okay with that. I'm okay with them going, look, prices are high. We know that we're coming along and we don't want to blow our brains out on something right now. They got all their picks, man. They're
I think they thought
tons
about
of cap space.
I thought about maybe Binnington, but it went nowhere.
Did they go anywhere on Naz, boys?
I don't think no.
No?
No, not from my information.
Surprises me. Because if you get him at whatever they got,
5'6".
I mean, that's for them where they're at. Good veteran center. I don't know. That
It's just
felt like a good one to me.
I think they felt he was just a little too old for them,
For where they're at.
for where they're at.
Speeding up the process a little bit too much for them.
It's an interesting thing of when to put the pedal down. I've got one of my standard Daryl Sutter stories talks about being in San Jose, and they had a 6-year plan. They were terrible. Had a 6-year plan, and by year 5 felt like they could win. They traded Jeff Friesen for Teemu Selanne, and it didn't happen. And all of a sudden, things start going a pot. You start rushing things. The pressure goes up. I feel like a lot of these teams, Anaheim for me, the John Carlson trade, which we haven't even mentioned yet. I don't know, a right guy, wrong time situation for me.
I mentioned that name a couple times earlier this week.
Yeah. No,
And
people love this trade.
Wasn't surprised at all.
But me.
You know
Well,
what?
I'm not,
you know what?
Doug.
Nobody mentioned all day that Washington gave up a first and a third, which is a great return, and the guy could re-sign this summer so easily.
Washington got a first and a third from Anaheim, and he could just go back there.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's going to happen, but
Ovi's broken up over it.
Yeah.
it could
hardest day of his
it could
career.
easily be Carlson just doing the Washington Capitals a huge favor here.
Yeah. I mean, for Anaheim, the reason I'm more hesitant about it is they're one of the worst defensive teams in the NHL. This is like not an area that John Carlson helps them necessarily. They already score pretty good. And then I just think those guys that when they are going to win their cup, it's Leo Carlson, Beckett Seneke, Cutter Gauthier, Jackson Lacombe. Carlson's not, the timeline doesn't add up to me if they're going to extend him. So it's a pretty big price to pay. And I saw people say, they got cupboards stocked in Anaheim. It's like, yeah, but that's still an asset you can use in a different way. You never just want to go, it's just a first.
Falk to Detroit.
Hold on. We're not done on Washington yet. Okay.
Oh, you want to talk about David Kampf?
No, I want to talk about Ovi.
Yeah.
You didn't get any sound on him, did you?
No, I didn't.
So tell me what you thought of Ovi and his reaction.
Saddest day of his
It sounds like he's going to
career.
be playing for Dynamo Minsk next year. That's what it sounded like to me.
Surprised, not surprised.
I mean,
that he's so busted up over it.
Do you think now this is the cherry on top of the sundae to his career in the NHL? Is he done? I'm asking you.
You're asking if this affects things. Well, it does feel strange that Washington appears to be punting on the year when they're as close as they are to making the playoffs. Like that part, I think would be frustrating. They're 4 points out of a playoff spot.
You got an aging defenseman, and you got an incredible return,
buddy.
Right?
I think it's the right move. I don't think they're cup threats.
You can't turn it down. What did they do? They went and got Liljegren.
They got the lily pad.
They got
Pair
the
it
lily
with
pad.
Sandine. Do it.
So, right?
I mean, it's.
I'm with you. I think it's brilliant, and like I said, he has the option of going back. But is he going back with Ovi going back, or is this just the sign of it's over for Ovi, it's over for Carlson, and we're moving on?
I don't know. You wouldn't be talking about this if you didn't think there was some chance this is.
I think this was a subtle way to tell Ovi, we don't want you back.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of.
I do.
They've deployed him like a field goal kicker this year. Like they bring him out in the power play and let him stand in his rocking chair in the one-timer spot.
Yeah.
Stay out
Let
there
him put
2
on
minutes. Don't skate on the
He's
power
got
play.
two different types of skates on,
So-
like a kicker does.
He's got an ozone deployment of 104% somehow.
Yeah.
Where'd the extra 4 come
Now,
from?
you can be Washington's management and going, please don't come back. Please don't come back. We could really use your $10 or $11 million on the salary cap.
We don't need the bad press that comes with making a decision.
But it could be easily overseen by the owner and go,
Are you
no,
kidding
that's
me?
my buddy. Yeah. That's my adopted
that's
son.
my meal ticket. That's right.
Well, he's not a meal ticket anymore.
People still come to see
He
him,
was a meal ticket, and I squeezed him and got every dollar off of him, and he's been an amazing guy. And if he wants to come back, he's coming back.
Yeah, the owner would be
Right?
like, listen, this guy still brings people to the arena. Like if I go watch a Capitals game, he's the number one guy I want to watch. Number one guy.
Still.
As a hockey analyst who does this for a living.
Still.
First guy, yeah, because I think he's hilarious. I think he can absolutely rifle it from the spot.
You have
Still now, next year.
Kip, what has he got for goals this year?
the
Another 25 goals in 63
I know,
games.
the all-time leading scorer in the history of the National Hockey League. Bring your kids down to watch them stand in the top of the circle and blast pucks.
Watch the amazing.
It really
Ovechkin.
does make for an interesting conversation on where this all kind of plays out for Ovi and the team. And
But you get why he's upset about Karlsson. I mean, they've been playing together since.
I know.
I mean, Karlsson's been in the league since 09.
Not war. He didn't die.
Well, no, but they played together. I mean, it's one of your best buddies. They've been to how many games
But
together?
all good things need to come to an end at some point. And is this the start of the end for
I
Ovi?
think it's a fair question, and then that might change some other things. They have some good young players there, but yeah, you got PLD, Tom Wilson, Protas, McMichael, Ryan Leonard. I like a lot. Ethan Frank. They just resigned. There's guys there.
They got some good
There's
pieces.
guys there.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll hit the break here. We'll hit the break.
Wow. Covered a lot
That was
already.
30 minutes.
You can
That
keep
was-
going if you want.
No, it's okay.
We'll get Friedman here.
We got Freach after the break?
Yeah.
Okay,
Hopefully.
well, just want to mention Detroit. Was that enough for you guys? Falk?
I don't know. No, it wasn't enough. Like, it definitely makes them better, but I'm kind of waiting for Yzerman to, really
Okay, first of all,
blow me away.
was that enough for Dylan Larkin? He should be pretty happy. I mean, he's a 20-plus minute guy, legit.
You don't even believe what you're saying to me right now.
No, you think Larkin would have wanted more?
Yeah,
It's a lot
I do.
better than last year.
Yeah, okay. Well, low bar. They didn't do anything last year. I feel like in a wide open year, you got a year, everything's kind of coming together for you. Sider and Edvinsson are unbelievable. They're a below average offensive team. Is Justin Falk changed that significantly? I doubt it. And I'm sure he's disappointed in that.
All right.
Just my guess.
Okay, let's take a quick break. When we return, our very own Elliotte Friedman, fresh off of trade day, will join us next when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Welcome back to the program. The Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee.
I'm going to be getting
You good? Dirk Brandeo upstairs.
He mutes me.
Is it James Wilson?
Yep.
Wilson!
Jimmy Willie.
Jimmy Willie.
I'm going to get kicked out of here in a matter of moments when the only Elliotte Friedman steps in here, and everybody listening will be happier.
You think he can make it here on his own, or would he just
our boy Show
collapse?
Show Ali is strolling him over here as we speak. So
Just bring a cot and let him lay down.
Yeah.
I did wake up to some strange hour tweets from Friedge.
The Carlson thing I woke up to this morning at like 6:30. I was like, oh, that happened.
Yeah.
Eh?
So
Yeah.
curious to see what his schedule's been.
Anything else out there before we get Friedge you want to touch on?
What happened around the time the Carlson thing happened? There's another one. Minnesota made some moves today.
Of course, in Vancouver, Garland, right?
Yeah.
Garland,
Who
Columbus.
hasn't even kicked in his new contract.
6x6. I love it
So,
for
okay.
Columbus.
You love it for Columbus?
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know, too much term still on him.
Yeah, totally.
With it on an organization that really watches their nickels and dimes.
But I do think they're also an organization that not a lot of players are waving to go to. I think that's been a really big story in all this. Like, the Canadian teams are having trouble. I think the Ottawa Senators tried to do nothing today. Probably not.
No, they tried.
They tried.
It was just too expensive. And Steve Staios is still new to this. And the tendency when you're new to this is I gotta win the trade, right? I gotta look good.
Yeah.
I can't lose it, and I can't look like I'm inexperienced. And I don't think there was a good enough deal out there.
I actually
for
think
him.
that's evolved in the NHL. I think it used to be two GMs being like, I got something that can help you. You have something that can help me. We both have too much at these different positions. Let's make a trade.
Yeah.
These days, it feels more competitive. You want to win your trade. And
I do think Fogel's a nice pickup for him. He'll play with Pinto, I think, on the third line.
I mean,
He's
what it
big.
cost him. It cost him a pick they had in the couch cushions.
Big, strong guy.
Fast.
And again, I mean, we value draft picks, no question, as everybody should. But
I don't.
third rounders may.
Fourth, fifth, sixth.
What's a third rounder to play 200 games at?
If you can
15%?
get an NHL player for third, fourth, fifth, sixth, do it. Go get an NHL player.
All right. Let's
Hello.
welcome him in. Elliotte Friedman, Hockey Night in Canada, 32 Thoughts. And coming off, I don't know how you would describe this trade deadline from others in the past, Elliotte, but
started slow, finished strong.
yeah. Was it the slowest you've ever been a part of? For me, I can't recall
You know, the only one,
4 or 5 trades going into the last hour.
the only one I ever remember that was slower than this one to start. Do you remember the one where Mark Stone went to Vegas? Like, nothing happened all day, and then he got traded at like 2:57.
Yeah.
For some reason, that's the one I remember as the slowest. But there was a time there when I was like, I'm definitely not earning my money today. I just hope nobody notices.
Well, it's not your job to create trades.
Well, some people would disagree with that.
Yeah. Well, the fascinating thing today was all the big names, particularly the Blues players that were rumored to be out there, that things didn't happen on. I guess, why do you feel like today was as stagnant as it was? And I recognize that it did get moving towards the end, but I still think most people thought more was going to happen.
You know, guys, I think there's two things. Number one, I think that the double retention thing really hurts. This year, if you wanted double retention, you had to trade for a guy, I think, on December 2nd.
Yeah.
So, like, that hurts. That really hurts. And the second thing is, and I don't have a problem with this. I really don't have an issue with this. You sign a contract, you live up to the contract, you honor the contract, but the no trade clause is like, in St. Louis, that absolutely was a huge factor. And I would suspect that not only was it the ones we knew, but I would bet that some of the St. Louis players had indicated, even before trades got done, there were some situations they were not going to be waving to. So I think the no trades and no moves, they play like with John Carlson, like Washington said, we are not even going to ask him about a team on his list. Now, they had plenty of other teams they could talk to, but even if you don't have a full one, you have a partial one, it cuts down business.
Yeah.
Did you think the situation with Parayko and St. Louis and Buffalo and how it leaked out and how it got right to the last detail about everything, all things considered, felt like a done deal? We talked about it like it was a done deal. And then, of course, the no move kicks in and the thing's shut down. Do you think something like that would have the league, the Players Association, everybody involved relook at all of this and go, oh, what are we doing here?
Well, it's a great question. Like, I don't know. Did you guys watch Doug Armstrong today?
Yeah, he said he went through the staff.
Yeah, he went
texts
through the. Yeah. I mean, you can do that. It's crazy. That's one of the reasons that I'm so particular with sources, is because I know that there are people that would do that if they could. I'll say this, Nick.
Do what?
Like, go through phones.
Okay.
If they could. I'll say this. I've told the story now a couple of times. I left here on Wednesday after doing a hit with Dave Amber, 6:30. And I got a call from a guy who's been in the league a long time, an executive. And he said, you're going to listen to me yell at you for 10 minutes. And this was the night the Uyghur thing happened. And I said, okay. And we get along really well. And he just screamed at me about, like, what a disgrace the Parayko thing was and the Uyghur thing was. And it happened to Jason Dickinson, too. Like, he didn't waive. He was going to, but he didn't.
Were you a proxy for his general frustration?
Yes.
It wasn't
Yes.
so much you specifically.
Well, I reported the Uyghur, so I was part of the barrage. But, like, he was just saying, like, I need to, like, you know what he said, Nick? It's like a bad look. That's what he said. And
yeah, I described it as having egg on everyone's face.
yeah, I mean, first of all, like I said, in my case with Flames in Utah, I didn't find out from the team. So nobody was using me to put pressure on someone. I'll tell you this, today, I was really careful about the Braden Shen one because I wanted to make sure when I reported it that he had actually agreed to waive for all this reason. I don't know what you can do, Nick, but there's no question that this left a bad taste with
Just
everyone.
stop handing them out like candy. Let's start there.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I thought BX made a good point. Like, sometimes you take a couple $100,000 less a year.
You pay for it.
And you pay for it. But, Nick, I do think in the next CBA, and we just got through the last one,
Yeah.
I do think you'll see the possibility they take aim at some of this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, people do like player movement from a league perspective
Yeah.
anyway. It is
Players
highly
don't.
entertaining. No, less cool for them.
In studio, Elliotte Friedman joins us on trade deadline day. Elliotte, the biggest story in Canada, Naz Kadri.
Yep.
A deal apparently was on the table yesterday. We both talked about it, not passing the smell test, I think, in Calgary with the owners. Retention was a big deal throughout negotiations all season long. If we mentioned Kadri possibly being traded, they ended up retaining 20% of it. How surprised were you?
I was shocked. And I watched you guys yesterday. I was listening to what you guys had to say. And I honestly, Nick, after they made the Nick Waugh deal, I just assumed it was all over. It was dead. And so when I heard about it today, I was shocked. But first of all, how about the Avalanche making that deal and they don't give up anybody from like the core of their team. But Nick, I give the Flames a lot of credit. They could have eaten this one. Kadri was a good Flame. He was a good Flame
For
not
sure.
only when they were good, but he was also a good Flame when they weren't very good. Like the players, especially the young players, will tell you how helpful he was. At the end of the day, they did the right thing, and you just hope. Like, I'm a believer in good karma, and you hope that that's good karma. But Nick, honestly, I didn't see any way this was happening after yesterday.
I'll take it to another Canadian team, Toronto Maple Leafs. They had sat out 3 guys. They moved Nick Waugh outside of that group and then moved McMahon and Lawton. I personally thought the Lawton return was a little light, but was there other Maple Leaf deals that were being worked on that were close, or was this sort of all they were able to muster up?
I don't know that there was anything else yet that was close. OEL, I heard, never got close. I think Ekman Larson knew that there were teams that wanted him, but they set that price of a first and a second. And even Edmonton, like Ekman Larson at least knew that the Oilers liked him. They never went to him with anything.
Okay.
Like it was never close. McMahon, I'm trying to think if there was anyone else. Like, I think by the end, they had almost everybody out there.
Yeah.
Like,
Talking
almost
McMahon.
everybody out there. And, like, they were willing. I heard this week, like, they were like, if you want to call us with an idea, we'll listen to that idea.
Mhm.
And I would bet that they got calls about guys like McCabe,
Mhm.
and ultimately they just didn't decide to do it. But I heard the Leafs were out there. Like I said, I wrote yesterday with Nyes.
Well, yeah, you put Matthew Nyes as the
Yeah.
lead pitcher. I know that was your editorial choice for sure.
They told me they were going to do it. I didn't think it would crash the site, but like, you know what? I think there was something to that. I think they said, like, it's not like we're throwing them. Like, they just said, like, if you want to make us a huge offer that would make us think about Matthew Nyes, they wanted people to know that if you're serious, come at us seriously, and we'd look at it.
And we were just talking about it earlier before you came in that, with the fact that Nyes was out there, say what you will about how close or how realistic
Yep.
it was. Robert Thomas, Pettersson in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
Elliotte, these stories aren't going to go away now.
No, they're
Once
not.
they're out there, there's like Nyes. It wasn't just like a throw it out and see if we can hit a home run. They're going to do the same thing at the draft.
Yeah.
They're going to do it after free agency. It won't leave, right?
Yep, I agree.
I mean, you're going to be a busy guy.
Yes.
I'll be golfing, but
Well, you got 2 more months of shows. You got plenty of dust you can kick up before then.
But now that it's out there, I mean,
yeah,
it's
It's
like I
out
said,
there.
those definitely won't go away.
Like I'll tell you this, like, Nick, you've done this job. If you get something wrong, people call you and they tell you, "What the hell are you doing?" Nobody called me to say, "What are you doing?"
To me, so I'm thinking about Nyes.
But somebody will call you and yell at you for 10 minutes.
that was a good friend though. Like, he was just
Was he?
venting. Yeah, he was venting. He was just.
But I have spent time thinking about Nyes, and what does that potentially mean? Like, is there another, like a D that's that age, that's valuable on a team who has too many D?
You know who I wondered about? I'll tell you. These were some of the guys I wondered about. Well, like when I heard that Nemec was out there,
Yeah.
I wondered, could that be a package?
Ugh. I understand.
But that's the
He's going to be a 20-goal scoring
thing.
defenseman.
Yeah.
He has young. I see it.
Like
I just
I'll tell you
wouldn't
this,
want
like
that.
I never thought when they signed Nyes last summer, and it's a great contract, I never thought, like, it's not about Matthew Nyes. It's not. It's about the situation the organization finds itself
How
in.
do we get somebody who can run a power play from the back?
Or how do we just get now at least they have because of the Watt deal and the McMahon deal and the Lawton deal, they got picks now. They got lottery tickets. They didn't have a lot of lottery tickets. I don't think this is about Matthew Nyes at all. It is about the situation that they're in.
Elliotte, does it feel like the general managers out there this year may have felt a little bit more pressure in years past? Like, I look around and I'm like, I get Stevie Yzerman, Detroit,
Yeah.
the son of, the Elliottes, pretty much, the adopted son. But I felt pressure that he feels right now for Detroit, and he went out and got Falk. I mean, it was up against his captain challenging him just a year ago about lack of participation in last year's trade deadline. I look at Toronto. I look at New Jersey. Like, those general managers, Brad Treliving, Fitzgerald. I'm like, is it because of the double retention and these caps and lack of movement that they're feeling it even more this year than in years past, these general managers?
I think there's that, and also, Nick, I think the fact the cap is going up, like the expenditures are going to be so much more, right? And these teams are so much more valuable. Like we saw, Columbus yesterday, our Carolina yesterday, and with small percentage shares, the valuation's always higher. But like there's a lot of money at stake here. They're paying a lot of money for their teams. They're paying a lot of money for their payrolls. The expectations and the pressure, it's enormous.
Jobs pay well, too.
Jobs pay well.
Stan Bowman, is he feeling it?
I how could you not? Like, especially, with McDavid only signing for 2 years.
You
Like
see his comments, by the way, after the trades? I don't know if you saw McDavid in the last day or so, but, they asked him how he felt about, he was like, yeah, they think that those guys can help, so.
You know what? I'll say this too. I watch this now.
I know. Read too much into it.
You know what I think it is? I think that social media is such a powerful force now. People don't want to pour gasoline on their own fires. They're like, if I say anything,
just trying to get out of every
people are going to run with. I really think that happens.
Particularly him.
Yeah.
Biggest name or surprise that didn't move today for you?
Didn't. Oh, I think Thomas would probably have to be that guy. Thomas or Kyrou, because they were definitely out there. Trocheck would be another one. Those would be.
Ristolainen couldn't find.
I think at the end for Detroit, it came down to a choice: Falk or Ristolainen, and they took Falk.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was one or the other.
And Ristolainen has not had a good year, but he had a good Olympic.
Oh, he was good.
He was really good in the Olympics, and that drove the price up for Briere to want a Carlo situation that the Leafs took on Boston last year with him.
And last one, quick. I know we have to get to break here pretty quick. Minnesota Wild did stuff, right?
They did.
They Brink, McCarron, Foligno, Petrie. Are they?
I just wonder at the end, are they going to look at it and say we didn't get that center?
We didn't get that guy.
Now I think Guerin looks at it like we're going to be here for a while, so we can find it another way.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if this year they're going to say that one hole is going to be a problem.
Right.
Although I think Quinn Hughes erases a lot of problems.
Yeah, he fixes some things, doesn't he? Leave him out there for half the game. Papers over a few issues.
Well, like always, a great job.
You guys too.
Elliotte.
Great work, guys.
Thanks
Great
for
work.
coming in, man.
Yeah, my pleasure.
That is Elliotte Friedman, Hockey Night in Canada, Sportsnet 32 Thoughts, does it all around here. Get a good rest, my friend. Free agency just around the corner.
Also,
Thanks a lot.
playoffs and the draft.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Plenty more on this trade deadline day. General Manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Brad Treliving, set to join us at the top of the hour. And a former one as well on a Friday, Doug MacLean. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, off the
Once
rails
again.
Friday with Doug MacLean.
Yeah.
Don't go away. We're just getting started here. Time to take a deep breath as we conclude the 2026 NHL trade deadline. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. We're the Real Kyper and Bourne show live on Sportsnet. Sportsnet 590 The Fan, 960 in Calgary, 650 in Vancouver. Streaming always on Sportsnet Plus, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. In a few minutes, we'll be joined by Brad Treliving, general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, where he was in sell mode, JB.
Yeah, he hasn't done that here, and we haven't seen it here since we've been a show together. It was a unique trade deadline. They got some picks, man. They set out to restock the cupboard, so to speak, and 5 draft picks came in. Things look a little brighter in that regard, but it does raise some questions about next season and how they win more games next season.
Sammy, underwhelming for you was the word that you used.
I'm sure we're going to get the answer here in a little while, but I just want to know, I thought there could be a world where they bring in some players to maybe look towards next year, but maybe bringing in just picks. It's more of a thought of maybe they're going to start bringing in a lot of picks this offseason. Like I'm not quite sure where we're at in terms of looking forward, but I made my point off the top of the last hour talking about Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Surprised he's still here. There's lots of different things about it, but yeah, I wouldn't say perfectly placed. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting to hear from Brad in terms of where the market started, and I don't even know what that means. How far do you have to go back to really establish something? But no question, it felt at the end like the bottom fell out. Maybe that was the case with Scott Laughton, because I had thought at some point, JB, that it would have been a lock to get a second round pick for a guy like that.
The second the whole trade deadline deals started happening, it felt like they were too high. It was like McCarron went for a second right away. And I was like, whoa. I don't think I anticipated that. And it feels like it gave some GMs some cold feet, like Dowd going for a second and a third not long after. I think a lot of people are like, God, if a depth, fourth line guy is costing 2 early picks, I don't know if I want to be a part of this. And I just think people went into it kind of with their guards up, and it was a very cautious deadline.
In 30 minutes, we'll welcome in Doug MacLean, former NHL president, GM, head coach, on this Friday. If it's been a tough week for you, stick around on that one.
I saw Mac tweeted a picture of himself, and I think it was Jack Edwards.
No, Jack Armstrong.
Jack Armstrong, sorry. Yes, not Jack Edwards.
Get that guy, Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do the
Can you imagine being a fly on the wall for that conversation?
They're hanging out.
Yeah, they're buds.
They're Florida buds.
They used to do a show together.
I know, that's wild.
All right, well, let's welcome in the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Brad Treliving. Brad, thanks for joining us today. Obviously, a selling mode. Let me just ask you, in terms of a day like today, was it inevitable that it was going to happen? And if so, when did it hit you that you were going to be in sell mode? Was it just prior to the Olympics that you kind of got yourself ready, or did you need the first 3 or 4 games after the break?
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I've been not feeling great for a long time with how we've been playing. And so early in the season, we looked at as many options as we could to help bolster our team. But as far as probably getting to today's, what happened over the course of the last few days, or the direction, it was, prior to the break, you have to plan and prepare. I don't think we weren't coming out of the break and praying that we were going to win games here and change the direction. You watch your team, not only from a point production standpoint and wins and loss standpoint, but where you're playing, what's happening around the league. So, we were active prior to the break, throughout the break, and talking to teams and getting a feeling for what they thought of players that we may make available or could be available if there was fits for them. So, this process probably started, throughout just prior to the break and throughout the break.
So, Brad, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Wanted to get a sense for, sort of what now? When you look at this team, is it fair to say that you guys do want to retool and come back at it next season? And if that's the case, is it basically the age and contract status of Matthews that has it in the situation where you're like, all right, we got these guys, we got to do it now?
Well, I think you got to look at all sorts of things. That's, to me, today was, and I keep calling today, but leading up today was an opportunity to try to get as many young assets as you can. To me, to retool your team or refigure your team or whatever reword you want to use, you need to have as many bullets as you possibly can. And so that was the objective over the course of the last few weeks. There really was no activity, or very limited activity coming prior to the freeze, and then obviously no activity throughout the freeze, and you saw not a whole lot going on until the last couple of days. So there needs to be change to our team, Justin. We need to reconfigure ourselves. I know when things have gone the way they've gone this year, there'll be lots of noise that everything's got to go out the door. I don't necessarily see it that way, but there's got to be some change here, and we need to get, there's a lot of things that we've discussed in a plan that you formulate. I think we got 19 games to play that we're gonna get through, and then as we get to the end of the year, have a plan that you're going to look to execute. But no doubt there needs to be change, and what we were trying to execute is get as many bullets as you possibly can in terms of picks, prospects, and the like to affect that change.
You're listening to Brad Treliving, general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. 2 years ago, you said everything must be on the table. Are we back there again?
Yeah, I think, Nick, I'm not here to make any profound statements. Here's where we're at right now. There's got to be change to the hockey club. So I get it. We all want to align. We all want a statement here. There's not too much to you're never going to be closed-minded. We looked at made a lot of different things available as we went into this deadline, trying to be as creative as we possibly can. Ultimately, it comes back to you've got a team on the other line that needs to find a want, a fit, and be willing to give a price for your players. So I know that we all think that everybody's worth 2 first-round picks and this and that. Ultimately, the market will dictate, and the people buying will dictate what they're prepared to pay for. So we need to now. We've gotten through the deadline. We've got 19 games to play. We've got some players that we want to look at over the course of these 19 games, and then as we get into the spring and summer, you evaluate the season that's had and where you go from there.
Brad, I think Leaf fans today want to know if there's a game plan, if between ownership, Keith Pelly, yourself, Craig Berube, that you guys got a game plan that will either get the Leafs back into playoff contention as early as next year or maybe later than that. But there's a plan. There's a definite plan. And are you confident you are the guy that can lead it?
Well, listen, we definitely will have a plan. There's a plan that we will have put together. As far as myself, listen, that those decisions will be made by others. I want to correct the things that, as I said, we have not had success this season. It's been a disappointing season, and it starts with myself. So I'll take full responsibility of it. I feel that I know areas that we need to get better in. Ultimately, that's for somebody else to judge, and I don't spend a whole lot of time worrying about that. I worry about trying to do the best job I can with our staff, and doing the things that need to be done to put this team back to where it should be. But certainly the failures of this season I take full responsibility with them, and so now we move forward and do the very best job that we can to try to put this team in a position to move forward.
Brad, would there be any intention to use some of the assets acquired today, maybe at the draft or otherwise, to bring back realized players rather than actually using them to pick young kids?
Yeah, those are all things you look at, Justin. You know, I wouldn't say there's anything out of the off the table. Today is a day, or I keep saying today, but this deadline is to accrue as much as you possibly can. You know, you're looking at, is there players that you can get, you know, before the deadline expired here today. So you're trying to swim in both pools. But certainly, you know, we've acquired some draft assets. Our hope was to try to accrue more young players. But, you know, certainly whether that's picks that you use at the draft, whether those picks that you use to acquire other players, you know, those are all things that you evaluate and decide on moving forward.
You know, I hear a lot of ownership for the season out of you, Brad, and that, you know, that's great. I think that at least for the Leaf fans, but the players have to own a lot of it too here. And you know, when it particularly comes to your leadership group, and I'll say Austin Matthews, Willie, JT, Morgan Riley. I mean, are you still confident that this is a good leadership group that can take this organization back to contention, or does that need to get revisited as well in the offseason?
Well, I know everybody talks about the leadership group. Listen, we all own this, right? It starts with myself, but we all, when you have the season that we've had, the first part of that acceptance or realization is accountability. And so we're all accountable. It starts with myself, our coaches, our players. All of us have underperformed as a group. I know the players would feel the exact same way. So I have all the confidence in the world in Austin. I have confidence in our leadership group. I have confidence in the players, but ultimately the results tell the story. So, you know, those are all things that like I said, today, there's always a lot of weight, especially, you know, one thing I know you go through a couple of the games that we've gone through here, coming out of the break, and it's certainly not good enough, but we all want to say as players quit. Players haven't quit. They haven't given up. It's not an excuse, but there's a weight when you have a realization of where you're at, when you have a realization that you're not in the position that you want to be in, when you have a realization that the trade deadline's coming up and there could be some moves. You have a lot of players that haven't gone through that. This group cares. They care deeply about having success, and we haven't accomplished that. So there's a weight that goes through that happens, but we're past the deadline. We have 19 games to go. We're professionals. You're in the best league in the world. There's now responsibility to do the job to the very best of your ability, and that's what I anticipate and expect from our group.
So tell us how deadline week went for you. It's interesting you mentioned that, trying to swim in both pools. Maybe you were talking about some other players or bringing them in. With the guys that you sat out, so 3 guys sat out, did you kind of have deals in the table or in the drawer and just waiting to see if other teams can beat that? Let us in on sort of the process of the last few days and how you ended up where you did.
No, I had no deals on any of those players. There was conversations with teams that had an interest in possibly talking about those players. But when you had 2 players that were UFAs, the position that we were in, I just didn't think it was worth the risk to put those players in a position where an injury could affect being able to move them. It was clear that we weren't going to be any for some time right now, that we weren't going to be in a position to sign those players. And probably more so the position our team was in, right? We had to accumulate as many assets as we could. And I don't do the play-by-play of what's going on on your shows and all the other shows. I get some summaries, but some of the things out there that deals were close in terms of contracts or anything, there really hasn't been any dialogue to that description for some time, and some of that is potentially where those contracts could be at, but more so knowing where our team was at and knowing that we needed to collect some assets. So I spoke to all three players. Obviously, Scott and Bobby are unrestricted players, and then spoke to Oliver. There had been some dialogue over the course of the last few days of teams that may have interest in Oliver, and just felt at that time, again, if there was something that possibly could happen, it made sense to make sure that we took the course we took to be safe rather than sorry.
I know, Brad, it's been well documented what you paid last season for Scott Lawton and what you ultimately traded him for. Was there the temptation out there just to keep him and sign him, or was there a mandate to recover the assets on these particular UFAs?
Well, there wasn't a mandate, but certainly we paid a price for Scott, and I'm not going to hide behind that. At that time, that's what was required. We made the decision. We made the decision to acquire Scott last year at the price we made. Not making any excuses. The availability of players last year, where we were at as a team, we knew the price was steep. We knew we wanted to add a centerman.
Yeah, Brad, that's not that's not my intention on the question. It was, were you tempted to re-sign him? I listened to your comments, talk about him, his character, what he's meant to the team. I listened to Easton Cowan say he wouldn't be the person he is today without him. Was there a temptation to sign him at all?
Oh, for sure. I wouldn't call it a temptation. There certainly was a willingness to sign him, but there wasn't, we didn't get to a stage where, when you compare both, I guess when you look at both sides of it, there wasn't, we felt a contract that was able to get done. And B, we felt that we needed to gain as many assets as we possibly could. So us not re-signing Scott prior to today's deadline is I don't know if I can speak high enough about Scott Lawton in terms of the character, what he's brought to our room, the quality of person. This is a an elite teammate, a great person. But what I couldn't, and it's me making this decision, what I couldn't feel we could do is get to the buzzer today and not have either Scott signed or have an asset returned. So that's where it was. But by no means is it any indictment on Scott, the person, or what we think of him.
Last one for me, Brad. And again, appreciate your time. Just wanted to get your thoughts on how these guys were used. You acquire them at a pretty good cost, and I'm not even talking about him specifically, but talking about Craig Berube and his coaching. I know you're the GM, he's the coach. Is there ever a time where you acquire guys and you go, God, I wish we would use them a little bit more or differently? Maybe that's Easton Cowan, maybe it's Nick Waugh. Do you ever sit there, or do you have those conversations? How do you guys sort out how to allocate the ice time once you make moves like that?
Well, you're constantly in conversation with Craig. So, there's no lack of communication. Ultimately at the end of the day, the coach, and I believe firmly in this, the coach gets full autonomy on the lineup card. Do we talk about the lineup? Do we talk about players? Do we talk constantly every day? Do I share ideas? Absolutely. We do that all the time. But ultimately, the coach, you have to let the coaches coach. We all have our jobs to do, but to think that there's no communication, it would be completely wrong. We speak all the time. We communicate about different thought process, but that's the responsibility and the job of the coach, to utilize players where he sees best fit to win the game. And that's, I believe strongly that you have to grant your coach that flexibility. So, but the coach manager relationship is one where there's constant communication. We talk all day, every day. So, that doesn't change. Ultimately, the coach fills out the lineup card and uses players that he feels and puts them in the situation he feels is best for the team to win.
One more for me too, Brad, just in terms of 19 more games. That's a lot of games, man. What's the message to the players that you or Craig expect out of these 19 games and ultimately the Leaf fans?
Well, I mean, the expectations, you go out, you're a professional, you got a job to do. And it's a privilege to be in the league every day. We are not where we want to be, expected to be, but we are where we are. So get over it. And now our job is to go out. You get to play in one of the great franchises in pro sports, in front of one of the greatest fan bases in pro sports, in the best league in the world. So there shouldn't be any lack of motivation. I get it. It's not easy. It's not where we want to be. But we've gotten through today, and the expectation is we go out and we play hard and we compete, and we're professionals, and you be a professional every day that you're in this league.
Brad, we know it wasn't an easy day today, and we sure appreciate your time coming on the show. Thanks for doing this.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
General Manager, Toronto Maple Leafs, Brad Treliving.
Yeah, tough day, I think.
Oh, that's
You could hear
an understatement.
You're having to ship out guys that people like and you probably liked and guys you bet on before. It's not easy.
hear it in the voice, boys.
Yeah, you can hear it for sure. But you gotta, you're the guy. You gotta stand up there and take it, right? And
Don Draper, who said that's what the money's for.
But he is like we know Brad. He's a stand-up guy.
It's a great job, boys.
Yeah.
Ask good questions. I mean, I'm sitting here as a Leaf fan, and these are the things that I wanted to be asked, and you sat there and did it. So I appreciate it.
The one thing I did get out of it is that, they still have to figure out their plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
We will have a plan.
Right? In fairness
Which means
to him,
it's not in place yet.
Pre-Olympics, they won 3 in a row, and the plan was to come out of the Olympics healthier and win.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I know that they should have contingency plans, but I think the plan is very recently been torn asunder.
So what, I guess we've been asking this question, but what should the plan be?
I would have liked to have seen more guys traded today. Mm-hmm. I would have liked to have seen, I liked the idea of trying to buy, I said my fantasy thing, from the first hour, whether it's Shane Wright or Lafreniere or Matty Beniers or some of these guys who are, I know they're not going to do that now because they're in a playoff run, but you want to see them make some bets on guys.
I think the system, whether we're talking salary cap or, just the CBA, I don't know if you get to really decide what the plan is, right?
What does that mean?
It means that you're in for tough times. And whether you think you have a plan or no plan, it's almost like nature needs just to take care of itself. You don't have any assets.
The cycle of forests. Eventually they just burn down and start to grow again.
That's what I'm trying to say. But you're way more intelligent.
Are there lots of leaves?
You're way more articulate than I am. But I don't know if you have any other choice. What do you really think is your choice?
Let's
that
say
you're
the
going to take
words.
your second and third this year and you're going to flip it into something that gets you back in the playoffs?
I'm sure if they listen to me right now say Matty Beniers, they're like, they're not trading Matty Beniers. It's like,
you don't have anything to give Seattle.
I know. Well, this is the thing. I was hoping they would have more.
You can come up with all the plans that you want, but the system doesn't allow your fantasy island plan.
Right. And so we are desperately trying to avoid saying the thing. If you're not going to be able to turn it around, then just trade Austin Matthews and William Nylander.
Trade them all.
if the forest is burning down, you don't need 2 random redwoods that don't.
But yeah, if you're prepared to say it publicly or not,
then, yeah.
No,
you may have to just talk to Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes the last few years or last 3 years and just see how they got themselves back in. It
Bad.
doesn't come overnight.
No. So I don't know. That is the thing. And listen, we've talked about it. Those are very good players that are tough to get. So you might as well try one more time. But if that's the case, then you need to sell everything you just got, get players at the draft.
Well, I asked him
UFAs.
about the leadership group, and he's got all the faith in the world in Austin. So
it'd be silly to
doesn't
stay
sound
in
like
butt, right?
doesn't sound like he's going anywhere. At least with Brad.
No, he's not. He's not going anywhere.
Game time?
Game time.
Game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. So looking at the Stanley Cup odds now after the trade deadline, they have them up here on Bet365. The Colorado Avalanche, as you would imagine, plus 300 to win the Stanley Cup this year. They added Nazem Kadri, obviously. They added Nicholas Waugh. They look like an absolute wagon.
By the way, that team's lost 10 games this year, and they just added 2 very good centers.
Yeah, they are stacked. Lightning coming in second at plus 375. Carolina plus 550. Golden Knights plus 850. And the Edmonton Oilers round out that top 5 at 10-1. Gotta love the number on the Dallas Stars at plus 1,600.
But where was the Dallas
in a
Stars
row.
to fill in for Tyler Sagan's money?
So they just got cap space. Well, I mean,
they've won 10 games in a row. They're a wagon.
I'm just asking, though.
yeah, I guess you don't have to spend the money if you think you're good enough. You don't have to spend money.
Like, what would you have wanted them to do? Kadri?
Got Kadri
Yeah.
instead of Colorado.
Keeping them away from Colorado wouldn't have hurt.
Yeah. You kind of got to go in if you're in. There's no point hanging on to a couple of chips.
Yeah, and I
Can't
don't
even.
I saw
make the
Colorado
next
get a lot deeper.
line.
And just to round it out, don't mind the Wild at plus 1,800. If
That's
they get
the
through
one I
that
like.
first round, they're going to have to beat Colorado, which is going to be tough, obviously. How about that division? Got to change the rules.
We should, Gary Bettman should be like, we're doing 1 versus 8.
I'm not
2
saying,
versus 7.
and it's not even I'm saying it because it's the Leafs anymore.
No,
It's a joke.
it's totally unfair that one of those teams is going to be eliminated in the first round.
I mean, there should be a chance that the conference finals is Colorado and Dallas.
Yeah.
That should be allowed. Anyways, that was game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
God, I love Matt Boldy. Just every time I look at their lineup, he's
He's so good.
That
Just a
goal he scored against
star.
Canada, just
hey,
dancing
he's
through
second in the NHL in goals currently.
danced through two of the best defensemen in the world, tucked it home.
Dude, the Wild are loaded.
Loaded.
Okay, take a quick break here. Doug MacLean. Hope he's tired today, and I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous about him because it's later,
It's
right?
an hour and a half later.
It's an hour and a half later.
So he's had his wine now.
The vino could have been cracked by now, is what you're saying.
Totally.
If we get him with purple teeth,
Totally.
we know we're in for an electric interview.
We thought you were high yesterday. He's coming in hot.
He could be, his meds could be kicking in too. All right, Doug MacLean. When we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Welcome back to the program. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. A reminder, Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Speaking of gambling, let's welcome in our next guest to our show. Always 50-50 on what we'll get out of Doug MacLean.
Oh,
Listen, I'm exhausted. Okay, I'm exhausted.
I've had a busy day. This is like my 5th show of the day. Like, seriously.
See what we've created for you?
And all same pay.
Of course, you and Jill were glued to the television all day on trade deadline day, correct?
Yeah, we left here at 5 o'clock. We had to go across and play bocce ball on the beach with our neighbors. And have just some appetizers and hors d'oeuvres on the beach. And I was thinking about the show the whole time. I couldn't focus on bocce ball because I was so focused on this show, wanted to do a good job.
Well, you always do, Mac. You seem like you're reloading.
No, I never have anything loaded with this guy.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm just going to toss up a softball to you because we just threw a couple fastballs to the GM. What are your thoughts? Deadline day, your key takeaway today, Mac. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know what? I'll tell you who I was really impressed with Anaheim and Verbeek going after Karlsson. And all of a sudden you look at their right side on the blue line and you've got Trouba, Gudas, and Karlsson. And in my opinion, with those moves, that puts them in the same category as an Edmonton and that group to compete at playoff time. I thought it was a major move. And obviously, the Colorado move late in the day with Kadri was a big move for them. It gives them a tremendous depth. Imagine Kadri as your third center. A little surprised that they went that way, but hey, look, Kadri's still a real good player, and it gives Colorado a real good look. Interesting first round. Is it going to be Minnesota and Dallas play in the first round?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be somebody different, like last year? So that was my main takeaways. The Leafs tried to do some things. I thought Buffalo improved their team, I really, after the Parayko disaster, however that happened, and to bounce back and pick up a big body like Stanley and Shen, I thought that was a real good pickup for Buffalo. So, I think there was some good moves. Edmonton, you're going into the playoffs with Ingram as maybe your number one defenseman, or I should say goaltender, and that would make me a little nervous.
Just one thing on Kadri going to Colorado. I just mentioned moments ago to the guys, like, didn't Dallas need to kind of maybe race to get somebody or keep Kadri away from Colorado or fill in Sagan's $10 million? I
was a little surprised there, but you know what? They're looking at it a little bit. Let's not forget they didn't have Heiskanen in the playoffs last year, and he's back 100% healthy. They're a much healthier team going into the playoffs. Tough owner there too. Solid GM and Jimmy Nill, tough owner. I'm just wondering if they would go there dollar-wise with Kadri's term. You've got to look at Kadri's term and be a little bit nervous about that. If you win the Stanley Cup, it doesn't matter, obviously. But if you don't win the Stanley Cup and you're sitting with that term, you may not be as excited.
Lots of big moves. Minnesota was pretty aggressive in that division too, right? They grabbed 4 guys: Foligno, McCarron, Petrie. There's another one on the bottom, but they didn't end up with a big name like you thought they would.
You know what? Foligno, look, I love you got to love Foligno, and you love the brother connection. I'm not sure his game is where, obviously it's not where it was. You guys experienced that in Toronto, 3 years ago? But, it's a nice story. I just don't know if he's going to help. But Minnesota's going to be a tough team, too. They're going to be a tough team. But as I said, I think Anaheim moves into a much more competitive group in the West, and they will not be an easy out, boys. They've got some good young talent there, and I think they really improved. But you're right. Minnie did a lot. Lots of people did a lot.
Were you
I
surprised
just shake my
Carlson,
head.
Mac? Were you
I can't get over what? Go ahead.
were
Nick.
you surprised Carlson went to Anaheim after all these years? And I don't know. I mean, I floated this out with no knowledge, no inside information that maybe Carlson did a favor for Washington and could re-sign back there in the summer.
I don't know that. If that's a fact, they've really kept it well under the wraps. When I listen to Ovi's conversation and I listen to Wilson's conversation and you listen to Carlson, I didn't sense he's going back. And I think after 17 years and what he's done for the franchise, I was really caught off guard by that move. I really was. And, if he comes back and signs, that's great. I'm just not sure I sensed that today. Did you?
I don't think for 1 second he has plans on ending his career out in the West Coast.
Yeah, maybe. You usually have a good intuition into that. I'm a little out in left field on some of those things, but I thought it was a really good deal for Anaheim. So we'll see what happens. Lots of teams, I look at what's going on in Vancouver and I just shake my head.
What is going on?
Well, you know what? It's funny. I was doing, Nick and I were doing a show when they were in the bubble, and I'm looking at their team and thinking, Pettersson, and I compared him on Nick's show in those days. I compared Pettersson to Datsuk. That's what he looked like as a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
This guy and Quinn were chemistry, and Besser, and it was just and Horvat was there, and I looked. Demko was at a start move coming into a stardom, and all of a sudden I look today and I'm thinking, what is going on there? Like, where are they headed? I talked in this show a year and a half ago that they had one Canadian on the team, and that bothered me. But I look at them today and I'm thinking, where are they headed now? And Garland, so they signed. Tell me about you're talking about Brad Treliving, about his plan. What is the plan when you sign a guy on a 6-year deal that starts in September, and he's owed almost $40 million, $36 million on the new contract, and the rest of this year, which I guess would only be $1 million or so, and you trade him, and Columbus pick up a $36 million contract, and the guy has got 2 goals in the last 25 games. Has he scored 2 in the last 25?
So
I don't know.
You don't like it. You don't like that it looks like you have no plan in Vancouver, and you don't like Columbus picking up all that money for.
Well, look, if Columbus get in, which it looks like they have a very good chance to get in, and they win around, but that's going to be a contract, $36 million for Connor Garland. I like the guy, but I'd be pretty nervous on that one. I'm sitting there today watching that thinking, I had to trade Jeff Sanderson to save $800,000 to Vancouver. And I had to trade Sador to Tampa to save money. And I'm looking at them picking up $36 million today. Anyway,
do you ever think
good on them?
Do you ever think about how much your reputation is tied to things that people don't know about that? And I wonder that about GMs currently, who we don't know what their internal mandates are.
But here's it's funny. Jimmy D and I had a talk the other day for an hour and a half, and Jimmy D and he said, Doug, because Jimmy D and I talked a lot when I was in my time in Columbus and he was in Detroit, and he knew what we went through there to start the franchise and build the franchise. And we were talking about guys that got opportunities, and he said, Doug, I didn't get another GM job because I was framed as a loser. Because I didn't win in Columbus, right. So, it's funny how reputation, I was talking to Berkey today. Berkey's been hired by 6 different owners, now he won a Stanley Cup, but 6 different owners hired Berkey. David Poyle, 42 years as a GM in the league, and worked for 2 teams. So, it's just funny how you're perceived, in the hockey world. And bottom line is you got to win.
And I wonder which GMs today that we don't know about have internal mandates. And I think it's a lot of the teams and cities that players won't go to. A lot of GMs with no trade clauses against their teams look like they're inactive.
Yeah, and look, you'd be shocked at how heavily involved the ownership or the ownership's people are in dealing with the GM. Like, I know how it was with me. Hey, Mr. McConnell was a fabulous person. I thought the world of him. We got along great.
He gave you his jet.
Yeah, I liked the jet a lot. I really enjoyed the jet. I told you how I ended up with the jet is I was driving one day to Kentucky, and he phones me in the car, and he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm on my way to Lexington to watch an American Hockey League game. And he said, don't you ever do that again. You take the jet. You take one of my 3 jets to go. You don't waste time driving to Lexington. Well, I use the jet a lot.
Look at you, Taylor Swift.
2 things I miss. I miss my salary, and I miss the jet.
I just want to go back a little bit on, we've been a part of Sportsnet trade shows, Mac, many years, and we know how it works a little bit with the sources and getting information and all of that. But it hit a level I've never seen in all my years covering this game for Sportsnet with the Parayko to Buffalo, and how the information got out, how the details of the trade got out, how we analyzed it, how it was like a foregone conclusion, and then it gets shut down. I'm also watching guys the last 3 days, 4 days, healthy scratches. They're sitting in the press box eating popcorn because they're like ready to get traded. I'm watching Trocheck talk about his kid going, hey, Dad, you're getting traded. I'm not getting traded. I'm staying. And then like nobody goes anywhere. And everybody, like, can you imagine now being a season ticket holder who doesn't watch this carefully and going, hey, what are you still doing here? What are you doing? I thought you got traded. Like,
listen, I had a rule in Columbus, and I used to tell my staff this all the time. And I think I told you what Pierre Lacroix said to me on the first deal I made with Pierre. He said, we talked and we were setting up a trade. And I was trading him a 2nd-round pick for Marc Denis was the deal. And it was before the draft, and it was before we were allowed to. It was before the expansion draft, so it was a deal that was going to happen after July 1st. So he said, "Here's the deal, Doug. I can tell you right now that if this gets out, if this trade that I'm making with you gets out before it's allowed to, I can tell you it's coming from your organization, because I guarantee you it won't be coming from the Colorado Avalanche. So I'm just giving you that warning." That's what he said to me. And it was one of the great lessons of my early career as a GM. You make sure in your organization that things do not get out. You emphasize that with your key people that are at the top of the organization, the 4 or 5 people that are intricately involved in trade talks, that this cannot get out. And, it's one of the most important things with a franchise is leaks. Now, we know leaks. As I said, I was interviewing people for my new book, and I said to an agent, well, we know a lot of things come from agents. And he said, yeah, Doug, and nothing, of course, ever comes out from the GMs or the NHL, he said to me. In other words, give me a shot. So how it got out is embarrassing. So somebody dropped the ball somewhere along the line, and it's not fair to a lot of people.
Hey,
including Parayko, including the Blues, including the agent, including Buffalo, whoever leaked it. It's bad scene.
Thanks for reminding me when I used to call you and you were the general manager at Columbus. You kind of sucked as a source.
Well, I had you on hold because I was talking to Bob McKenzie.
Yep. Yeah, I don't doubt that for a second. Can you pull back on no trades and no moves? Can we?
Seriously,
is it to the point now where it's just left a lot of markets feeling like they're wearing handcuffs?
Like it makes the draft show also have handcuffs on. When I watched the shows today, and I was flipping back and forth between, I was watching Sportsnet, but you know what? It's that show today with 4 trades. That was like torture watching that. Okay, we're going to go to the strategy room. Well, okay, there's no strategy. Okay, we're going to go to this room. Okay, we're going to the players' lounge. Okay, yeah, okay, that's good. Let's move on to the next group. And then anyway.
But we've done it. We've lived it. We know
we've lived, and it's torture.
It's not easy
to have 4 trades. And okay, the NHL have got to stop using fax machines. If we have to wait an hour after the trade deadline to get the biggest deal of the day because they're sending faxes, are they using faxes still?
No, they're not. But you gotta do it one trade at a time, I guess. How complicated are they to research those trades? But listen, I was never an executive. You should know all this stuff.
Well, I know. It's like it's fax machines. I'm sure. I can't believe it. I thought they'd be using computers by now, but maybe not, Anyway, it's embarrassing. So we wait an hour for some action. Anyway.
All right. So biggest winners, Colorado. What do you think of Corey Perry going back to Tampa?
I don't think much of it. I think it's fine. I mean, look, they like Cooper wanted him. I mean, he was an important guy when he was there. He always comes through in challenging times. So, I was looking at Tampa Bay this year. What did they use? 35 players this year. They just keep filling in, and guys come in and do a great job. So either Cooper's a great coach, Brisbois obviously a good GM, Cooper's obviously a good coach. They just have done an amazing job of backfilling and having people step up and do a good job. And they're led by a group of 3 or 4 or 5 superstars who look to be healthy right now. So I think they're going to be tough, but I don't know. Did how many teams really help themselves today? Colorado did. Anaheim did. The Blues. The Islanders. The Islanders pick up Shen, which was a solid pickup at the end of the day. But I don't know how many teams really improved themselves. I mean, I like Detroit picking up the defenseman. I thought that was a astute move by Stevie Y at the end of the day. How many other things that really, really happened that were that beneficial?
Hey, thanks
Buffalo. I thought Buffalo had a decent day.
Thanks for sticking around so late. I know it's really late. You got dinner plans with Jack Armstrong or anything tonight?
No, Jack and I met last night at the Sandbar.
What was your show called? Pucks and Balls or something?
Well,
the game plan.
First of all, I had a bad back spasm because Jill hired me a strength coach for Christmas. Remember I told you she got me a strength coach for Christmas? And I think the bastard's trying to kill me when I go there. So I've got the worst back spasms I've ever had in my life. So anyway, I had to play golf yesterday. And as I told you, I had an 82 last week, and you've seen my swing. You've illustrated it on your show.
Yes.
I had an 85 yesterday with a 7 on 17, and then I parred 18.
All right. It's Friday night. Please.
$19
okay,
yesterday.
we got to go. Hey, thanks for doing this, man. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Okay, Doug MacLean, everybody. Sammy, how we doing, pal?
Good. We got 2 minutes left.
We got 2 minutes left. Our buddy JB's going to go catch his kid's hockey game, I think, tonight.
Well, I think he would have been able to stay until the end, but he discovered right before we went on air that the hockey equipment for his said child is in the trunk of his car that's at the Rogers campus. So that's
only going to happen a dozen more times before his kid's minor league hockey career is over.
So he's currently on the road. I guarantee he's not listening to us, but yeah. What a week.
Yeah, it is a fun week, and what makes it the most fun is just how many people out there are truly intrigued by all of this. And I don't know whether they felt disappointed at the end or not. There weren't as many trades as we've seen in years past,
Yeah,
But-
remember last year, Marchand at the wire, the big names that went.
No,
like-
but it's just, again, it just speaks to our fans.
Yep.
And how much passion they have for our game and wanting so desperately to see their favorite team improve. And this is an amazing week to do that. I was a part of Sportsnet.ca.
You were in the
and a
mix. You were in the
trade board.
mix up there today.
It was
too.
nice.
You were making calls, grinding, old school inside the Kippy. I love
Well,
it.
listen, I like to support the Elliotte and
Oh yeah, those guys.
Kyle.
I saw somebody put out a tweet that Friedman dominated. He led the league in trades broken.
awesome, and we're lucky to have him. Okay, once again, our thanks to Doug MacLean. Elliotte Friedman also joined us, and of course, the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Brad Treliving. Okay, Friday night, catch your breath.
Have a great weekend, brother.
Great weekend. And guess what, Sammy?
It's supposed to be 14 degrees here tomorrow.
We're back on Monday.
We're gonna talk.
Do it all over again. Our thanks to our fans on the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up if you can. Also, a rating and review. We'd love to hear from you. Have a great weekend, everybody.